Alright guys, today is October 15th, and as I said in my last video, I would be back to talk about where I was when I was kind of MIA for 3 months. Before I get started though, did y'all see that 10 million pounds of chicken was just recalled? Had I not listened to God and made that video, I would not feel validated at all if I hadn't listened, because I wouldn't have posted that video in time for it to make sense. So although it is not cool to have like the chicken recalled like that, for me I was like, whoa, you pushed on me to make that message that day on October, I think it was October 5th, and then on October 10th they announced that much chicken got recalled. So I was like, this is so cool. So anyways, back to the point of this message. I kind of was not sure if I was going to make this, even though I said I was. God had been, during the 3 months that I was MIA, it wasn't like God wasn't giving me things to talk about. I just wasn't doing it, which this is what these messages are about. And so this morning when he brought me something, I was like, oh, do you want me to do that video first? And this devotional or booklet got my attention. Now, a lot of times I'll show something on here and people are like, oh, that's not a good book, or this. I don't know anything about this author. I just know that one day I was at Barnes & Noble and it got my attention. I picked it up and I was going to give it to my husband, but it got packed away in boxes when God was leading me that we were going to move. So recently, like 2 days ago, I finally started unpacking some boxes that were just sitting there. But anyways, this morning I was like, which one do you want me to do? And this book was sitting there. It got my attention. And I opened it randomly and I landed on this page, page 62. But see this part that I highlighted? It says a long line at the DMV. That's what it says right there. Those words stood out to me. And that is going to make sense with this message and how I knew that God was like, yes, talk about where you've been. This is the one that I want you to do right now. So I'm gonna get a drink real quick. Yes, I have this giant Stanley cup. My daughter wanted it for her birthday and I didn't want to get it for her, but her aunt did, and she said it's too heavy, so I'm not going to waste it. I'll use it. So I'm going to start off with the title. Obviously I'm recording it, so I didn't type it yet, but I'm putting Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. And my confirmation verses I have is Isaiah 12:4. In that day you will say, give praise to the Lord, proclaim his name, make known among the nations what he has done, and proclaim that his name is exalted. Matthew 11:28-30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and lean from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. I have Isaiah 40:31. Or 40 verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And then I opened my Bible. I have a New International that's a side-by-side with the King James Version. And I opened it and it landed somewhere in Acts chapter 10. But very specifically, the words that jumped off the page at me said, don't hesitate. And then I saw a banner hanging on a fence nearby that says, let your voice be heard. And then Job 35:10, this is very important because, one, I didn't even know this verse existed because, I'm still kind of a newbie in regards to faith. 3 years is not that long. It says, but no one says, where is God my maker who gives songs in the night? And I'm always talking about how I'll wake up to a song, or I'll be sleeping and I'll hear a song in my sleep. Or sometimes I'll just be doing something random and a song just pops in my head. Just like in my last video when I talked about Black Swan, this lyric popped in my head. It said, do your thing. And I know I've talked about I have ADHD and all these things go together that don't seem to make sense, or how I get led to scripture with these, but it's just my thing. Okay, so I typed this up, so I'm going to kind of use this as a guide, otherwise I would be all over the place. So if I'm looking at this reading off, it's just so that I'm not talking and jibber jabbering like I'm doing right now for no reason. The last 3 months, I have been struggling with anxiety and depression. And that's not a secret here. I have shared this many, many times on here. That is something that I struggle with and I go through at different periods of my life. And sometimes it really sucks. And sometimes I can crawl out of it and sometimes I can't. I have not made that a secret. I have openly shared this. You can scroll through to old videos, like when I say flush negative thoughts down the toilet, or the one don't be discouraged, things like that. Now, recently, again, in these last 3 months, so this is a lot of stuff, which is why I'm making 3 different parts for this video. So, I felt like I was being surrounded by storms, and the only way I could explain this, which I typed it on here, and this is where DMV is going to come into play. I describe it as me sitting at a desk, and you know, when people come in and they have to pull a number and then you call the number. Well, I'm the person working, so I'm the person calling the numbers. But every number I'm calling, imagine the whole office is like a DMV line where you're sitting there waiting forever for your number to be called. But every number I'm calling is like a little storm. It just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. And I'll explain later where there was a change in this DMV image. Now, so I put on here, I fell into a deep depression again, and then I started pulling out old habits. And the first thing I did was disappear on YouTube. And then I put a mask on like nothing was bothering me, because that was the easiest thing to do. And I'll mention disappearing again somewhere in here, because before I made videos or before I found Christ, if I was going through a depression, I didn't reach out for help. The first thing I did was kind of fall off the face of the earth. I stopped calling people. I avoided people. I didn't answer phone calls. Friends I left hanging. There's probably some out there that I still left hanging. I don't even remember. It just is what it is. I kind of disappeared, and it's how I started to deal with things. Not the healthiest way and not the best way to be a friend with someone. Then I got led to a YouTube short from a guy called Reed Choi. I don't know anything about his background. I just know that sometimes he posts funny content. He talks about scripture sometimes. But the one that caught my eye was him talking about when your funny friend finally opens up and shares something. But it's kind of scary, because when you ask that funny friend, hey, what's going on, and they say I'm fine, it's a little bit disturbing, because you're not sure, like, are they really fine or are they not fine? And I'm usually that kind of person where I can continue to be and look happy and no one know that inside I am severely depressed. I've shared before that my husband at one point had no idea that I was just so depressed, back into the point where I was just begging God to just end my life. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the storms I went through. Some of them were going on while I was still making videos. So those were, I found out my dad had cancer. Our finances were cut in half, and that's when I started talking about how God was sharing with me ways to save money. After months of chemo and radiation that my dad went through, he went in for surgery, and his surgery was successful, and he is cancer-free. But, and that's a big but, my dad's health took a turn. I'm just gonna read what I typed, okay? I already shared the story of what happened in my last video about my dog Bruno. But on the way home from that vet, on the same day, okay, I called my sister to let her know that Bruno had to be put down, that he ended up passing away. And I was kind of crying, kind of not, but I noticed something weird about my sister. She wasn't really answering me the way that she normally does. It was quiet. And I was like, what's the matter with you? Why are you acting like this? And I had said, is it Dad? And then she just started crying more. So I had no idea what was going on. So my dad had a surgery, and he was there for the 2 weeks and was released to go home. He was home maybe 4 days when this happened with my dog, and then her crying when I called her. So I dropped my husband off, and I was like, I'm gonna go over there and see what's going on and why my sister's upset. Well, my sister told me that everything I was describing about my dog, about how he was acting before, like before I knew his leg was messed up, I was like, oh, he's just being like, he looks depressed, he doesn't want to get up, his leg hurts, you know, stuff like that. I wasn't expecting to have to put him down. And then we were sitting there, my dad, he was just sitting at the table with his head down on the desk. Now mind you, he's 84, and so this surgery was big, and he was weak, and he needed to go to the bathroom, so we were helping him to go to the bathroom. And when he was going out the door, he just was like, oh no, I don't know what's going, I'm going down. And the first thing I did, because I was behind him, was I shoved my left leg underneath him to catch him like my leg was a chair. I am not a strong girl, okay? But I don't know where the strength came from. I give it to God. And my sister was in front of him trying to hold him up from the front, but we're both not strong ladies, okay? We don't work out. So he was sitting on my leg in this weird position, and I had twisted my back, and ultimately we had to call 911. I mean, I stood there for at least 10 minutes holding him like that, and the only way I could describe it is like when you have a toddler and you're trying to tell them to do something and they're throwing a tantrum, and then they go boneless on you and they weigh suddenly like 100 million pounds instead of the little 40 pounds they're supposed to weigh. That's what it felt like, was on my leg, just boneless dad sitting on me. And he ended up having to go to the ER because we called 911. His oxygen dropped to like 40. And now we're at this point where my dad's kidneys are not working. He's having to have dialysis every day. He's still on tube feeds. His heart keeps going back and forth in and out of AFib. So it was a lot. Now I'm in this massive pain of sciatic pain and piriformis pain, which I still am going through. It's still quite painful. And on top of all that, the enemy was like, she's weak, things are going on, let me go do something old that worked before and see how that goes. So my marriage was being attacked again, and I was just like, I don't even know what's going on. Like regular person, why is this happening to me? And I started to think that I was being punished, that I had done something wrong. I started questioning everything. And I heard in my sleep a song by BTS called Pied Piper. And the lyric that I heard in my sleep, now mind you, if this is the first time you're ever watching my videos, I don't speak Korean. So I had mentioned in a video a long time ago, that God was answering my heart's desires of always wishing I had learned how to speak Korean by bringing me K-pop songs, so that in a little ways I'm kind of learning Korean. So I had to go look up the lyrics, and what I had heard in my sleep, the lyrics translated to, "You're not being punished." But I could not shake it off. I continued to be depressed. I just kept going deeper and deeper, even though God was like, hello, giving me this reassurance that I'm not being punished. I was like, no, this sucks, and I can't focus on anything right now. I am going to go down this rabbit hole of depression, and let's just see how far I can get. That's what I felt like. I wrote on here, I pretty much abandoned all the tools that God had given me to start doing when these feelings would arise. And again, the first thing I do is disappear. So I was like, I'm not making these videos anymore. I'm not. I need to go away, and I need to act like I don't exist. It's also a way of hiding. Then I was brought a song in my sleep called Blue and Gray by BTS, and the lyrics translated to, "Someone come and save me, please. Only the weary sight of day. I guess everyone's happy. Can you look at me because I'm blue and gray? My color is being hidden in laughter. Blue and gray. It's foggy on clear days, even on wet days. I just want to be happier." Which I was hiding being this depressed with laughter and acting like nothing was wrong, except for not making videos on YouTube because, you know, nobody on here is going to call me and be like, hey, what's going on? You know, blah, blah, blah. I just kind of was like, I'm going to just cut that out of my life. That's easy. So then this was when God started pointing me to all these different things, which ultimately pointed me back to my own YouTube videos, my own videos of how God had helped me during those times, or these times before, the negative thoughts video, the don't be discouraged video, or just listening to, there was one video I shared, I don't remember what it was, but I remember talking about in that dream, I sat there and said that I wish I kind of would shut everything else out and just listen to God for a minute. But I just threw all of those out the window. I was like, nope. It took over. And then he started to remind me that in doing that, how my mental health issues and my negative thinking and my self-hatred and my suicidal thoughts, that when I was able to work through those before and share them on here, it encouraged other people. So why can't I use it to encourage myself? And I was like, no, like I said, I threw it out the window. And this is when I started to let the devil make me feel stupid. Rewatching my own videos, the devil was just whispering in my ear, like, you're so dumb. You should have known better. Look at these videos. And you're just like, this stuff wasn't going to help you anyway. So what did it even matter? Like, just lie after lie after lie, when I clearly watched myself give these videos and feel better. But it wasn't working this time because I was so far in depression and the devil was just stabbing me right in the ear with all this negative stuff. And what else did I put on here? Again, that I was just at the point where I was like, God, I just want to die. Like this, I can't do this anymore. And I started to run faster than Jonah. I even put on here faster than that Usain Bolt guy, that runner. So this is when Jonah stuff started popping up. I opened up a box that had books in it, and the first book there was a National Geographic book about whales. I passed by an art school, and outside their statue is a whale. And then no joke, yesterday I was invited, I'm in this Bible chat group, and someone asked a question like, oh, let's talk about Jonah and, you know, him running. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I know I'm about to give this message about how hard I ran and how much I ran, and this topic question was about Jonah. I was like, I hear it, God. I know you want me to talk about it. And so it was just all those things leading up to these songs. And I'm gonna read some of these lyrics and you can guess the theme. It says, so Save Your Tears by The Weeknd. The lyrics are, I don't know why I run away. I'll make you cry when I run away. And then a song called Closer by RM. It says, I want to lock you up in my sight, but you run away like fish. And then a song called Save Me by BTS, which I will mention this song several times because it fits in so many places of this experience that I've been going through. But anyways, the lyric said, it swallowed me, this lunatic. And Don't Wanna Cry by 17, also a Korean song. It says, saying I love you isn't enough. No matter what word I say, leaving me who cherished only you, where did you go? Did you go far away because you didn't like me anymore? So this was all stuff about running from God. And then God started directing me to drinks like the Body Armor. Like, my husband was like, oh, I bought some Body Armor from the store, brought it here. I'd go down the aisle at store with Body Armor, walk down another store aisle, and the display at the end of the aisles were Body Armor displays. And I was like, you want me to put on the body, or I can't talk, guys. The stuttering thing, I don't think it's ever gonna end. The Moses thing has been popping up in my head so many times, like, stop being ashamed of that you stutter. Moses stutter, it's fine. So God was trying to get me to remember to put on the armor of God, and even bringing me to the phrases mind games, the word mind, and brain games. And you guys know on that a long time ago, that HBO show or something where it's like, brain games is now over. Like, God was like, end this mind funkiness that you're in and just put on the helmet and let your mind be at peace. I couldn't do it. So back to the song Save Me by BTS. The lyrics that really went with this was, I want to breathe, I'm trapped inside myself, I'm dead, it's dangerous how wrecked I am, save me because I can't get a grip on myself. And so this is where it started to get worse. It didn't get better, it got worse. So in my past videos, I have a series called My Story, where I kind of just talk about my own things in life. And when God kept bringing me like the word story or my story or write your story or whatever, I kept thinking that he was just trying to tell me to keep going with where I was going on that journey of things I've experienced in my life. But really, he was like, go back to that and rewatch one of those. And I didn't want to, but the one that he was leading me to was when I had talked about he came for the sick. And in that video, I talked about, I've openly shared that I had drug problems, two kinds of drug problems. One where I was using illegal drugs and pills, but how that turned into, even though I sobered up from those kinds of illegal pills when I was younger, later on in my early adult life, I say early, later 30s, I don't know, I got diagnosed with anxiety. And so around that time was when I started to abuse those drugs, because I just had problems and I didn't know God then. I didn't know how to turn to him for help with that. So now here comes what happened. I was here in this spot where I had legit pain, and I was in and out of the ER for this pain that I got from catching my dad just shooting down my legs, stabbing pain. My butt cheek was on fire, and you know, that's just what sciatic pain is like and what piriformis pain is like. So I was getting both at the same time, which felt like someone was squeezing my legs so tight that I told my husband, I was like, I wish that my leg was a Barbie leg and I could just pop it off right now, because that's what it feels like. It's going to explode. And I began to soothe my pain and my mental pain with these all over again. Now, I wasn't given a lot of them, so it wasn't like I had them handy before, where when I was diagnosed with anxiety, I had Klonopin. I had a steady supply of that stuff coming in to take as needed. But this one, I would go to the ER, they give you like a 10-day supply, but I was like, oh, I can't sleep, let me take 2 of these, right? Let me take 3 of these. And I don't drink, so I didn't run into that problem that I had in the past where I would drink wine and take Klonopin. So again, I'm not ashamed of this, it happened. And God brought me back to the song Black Swan, and the lyrics are deeper, deeper. Yeah, I'm going deeper. I'm losing my focus. Just let go of me. Let my own feet carry me. I'll go in myself. In the deepest depths, I saw myself. And I forgot to bring it out here, but this next part is so cool. And I'll tell you how to find it. So everywhere I went, I couldn't stop noticing the word sauce, or seeing sauces at the store. And like this one car drove by and the back of the license plate said Saucy on it. And because that's such a way, I mean, that's such a license plate name that you won't forget, I saw it at least 3 times on different occasions during these 3 months, like Saucy. I'm like, oh, there's that Saucy car again. Then one day I went to Taco Bell and I got a burrito, and I was like, I want some hot sauce. And God was like, look at that sauce. You know, their Taco Bell sauces have phrases on them. The one I picked up said, I can't let you go. I am not kidding you. Go to Taco Bell, get some hot sauce, and in that bundle, I'm sure you'll find one that says, I can't let you go. And then I heard in my sleep a song called Blue by V, which I've shared this before in one of my old videos about being depressed. It said, what if I show you and make it all new, but baby, you're still blue, blue. God was in fact, during all of this mess of my life, fulfilling the personal promises that he gave me. Even though I was slipping and I was making mistake after mistake and falling and running away, he was blessing me. And here I was, still sad about it. And I was at the hospital visiting my dad one day, and they have this sign on the wall that talks about fall prevention, different things you can do to avoid falling. And one thing on there, it said, what makes you more likely to fall? And one of the items on the list said medications, which that is something that I can't turn to, because that is something that will make me fall, and that is something that I sobered up from a long time ago. But here I found myself in a spot where I'm like, oh, my leg hurts, let me just keep medicating this pain in my leg, but subconsciously I'm medicating the pain in my heart, in my head, and all this stuff at the same time. So I put on here, I was still trying to get as far away from God as possible, because look at me, look at how I'm just going back to all these old things. Now that's going to end part 1, and it's going to lead me right into part 2, which I think I will record right after this. So always stay in the light, and I will be back with the next one.